Live from New York is Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, welcome to another fabulous and fantastic Ask an Engineer. We're broadcasting live from the Adafruit headquarters in kind of the alcove behind shipping area. It's me, Lady Ada. With me is Phil on camera control. We're hanging out. We're a little bit pale. Now we're a little less pale. Now we're rocking it out.
Yeah.
Wait, now we're blue.
Yeah.
now we're just doing stuff. What's going on? Okay, we have a lot of stuff on tonight's show. A lot of new products.
Yeah.
A lot of new codes.
Yeah.
A lot of excitement.
A lot of things going on.
A lot of things are going on.
We had so many people in this show and tell. I had to get the show started.
It was a full house.
Yeah. All right. So let's dive in.
Yes.
All right. On tonight's show, we're going to talk about what was just on the show and tell. Hack the Mailbag will stop by. Some news in the world of open source hardware. We'll talk about something very sad and also very happy.
And a cat on top of it.
Yeah. Some cool stuff in the world of manufacturing. Ask an Educator is back. Adafruit Learning System. Wearable Wednesday. 3D Thursday. Pi Day. Tons of new products. We'll answer your questions of a trivia question, and we'll show a picture of a cat. All that and more on Ask an Engineer.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's glorious.
Yep.
It's Ask an Engineer.
So this is a show. First up, let's pay some bills. We'll start let everyone know. This is a big celebration. The code is CC3000, 10% off everything in stock in the Adafruit store, including what is being called the best Internet of Things board already.
It's sold out. Right before the show. Yeah, right before the show, somebody bought them all.
Man.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, sorry, folks. I thought it was in stock.
We're gonna have more. I'll try to get more on Monday.
All right. Well, this code is for everything that's in stock. We sold out right before we got on the show.
I'm sorry.
All right.
They'll be on sale next week when we get more in. I said they were really popular. We made 250 and they're gone.
Yeah, it was a big deal. I know you and Kevin worked really hard on this. We sold out the first round, and this is the CC3000, the TI board that it's very difficult to get working well.
It sucked.
And
it really
and
sucked.
now we got it going on.
I was like crying. And looking at USB traces.
Yeah,
horrible.
You actually were.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't like sobbing, but it was very frustrating at times.
Yeah. All right.
We'll get it working.
Yeah.
I suffer, so you don't have to.
Well, here's the thing. The trivia prize tonight, I definitely have one.
We have one.
Yeah, I definitely have one.
This one. This one right here.
Yeah. So someone will be...
We took it out of inventory. This is for real.
Someone will be...
One person will get one.
All right. Let's keep moving on here.
All right. Sorry.
Show and tell. Packed night.
It was a party.
It was packed.
It was like basically like a basketball team.
Yeah. Show and tell is our weekly thing we do on Google Live Hangout.
It's a thing.
On air. And all you have to do is post a comment. You come on the show and tell. You show your project.
Anyone.
And
but you have to have a project.
Yeah. And it was full.
It was full. All the slots taken.
What did they show?
Let me talk about the people who are on the show.
Yeah.
I'm going to start right now.
Yeah.
First up, we had Sin. It's a Sin. Cynthia. It's a pretty cool name. She just took a class at the Media Lab on 3D printing, and she's really into 3D printing. And she got a Form 1 printer, and she just showed off the stuff she's been printing with her Form 1, and quality looks excellent. I mean, it's not even comparable to a filament printer. So if you want, I mean, I don't have a Form 1, but it's definitely, if you want like the highest quality prints, Form 1 looks like it's pretty sweet. So that was really nice. Check out the video if you want to see it live in 3D. She's moving it. Ethan came back. He's been working on a cam stabilizer, like a gimbal thing with steppers that auto stabilizes with like a gyro and accelerometer. And it's kind of cool. And he like hand soldered an accelerometer and like an LGA package, which is just sad because like that's really hard. But he did it, and it worked, which is great. And it's a cool project. He like laser cut this whole like gimbal thing for like a huge SLR. So it'll be cool to see how that works. Jeff showed up with a DEF CON hat. He had a hat that he wore during DEF CON, and it had like a bunch of 8x8 matrices like strung together in the front so it could like scroll. And then he had like an Atmega 328 chip, which was like Arduino code, and he used a Wi-Fi shield from SparkFun, and he basically made a hat that displays tweets, and that's kind of cool. And he used a phone to tether with it. Rick showed up again with more 3D printed robots. These are the most adorable little 3D printed robots, and they're chock full of like sensors and servos and like text to speech and LEDs, and they're just super cute. I hope he does a tutorial or something on how he makes them, because it's cool. He has like 3. Robert showed up again with his really beautiful workshop. He's got like a workshop with like windows and stuff, which really is so much better than like everybody else's basement workshop.
Well, I don't know about that.
I like my basement workshop, but come on, man, he's got trees.
Every maker workshop is beautiful.
Okay, he's got trees.
He does,
trees, people.
He does have these beautiful windows, and there's it's a nice
trees.
Yeah.
Anyways, and he showed up. He's got a load sensor he's working on. He got a 24-bit ADC. He's making a Pi interface board, but it's just pretty intense. He can measure like 1 gram differences on a 500 gram like load. So that's pretty intense. It's tough to do. Like load cells are already like difficult to use, but using like the bridge connection with 24-bit analog digital converter and a really quiet power supply, you can do it. He did it. Mike M came back with an upgraded goggles. He used our NeoPixel rings, which we designed specifically for goggles, and he specifically used them for goggles so that he could have awesome NeoPixel goggles. They're bright as hell. Lon showed up with his game show meter, some updates. He's got some big buttons. He's got some like lava modes. He's making more game show stuff. There's a display with screens and like basically this is like the most intense.
I made him put it in RGB mode, and then he had to put his head in a certain spot. And it looks like he has a giant RGB LED mohawk. And
then finally Justin was around, and he had his e-paper image adapter thing that they're making for the Open Source Hardware Conference. What are you talking about shortly?
Yeah, he made my badge. So he found images on Google, and it was me
of you like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was about 10 years ago, and I was using
Sony Glasscam.
No, these were other ones I was playing with. It was wearable technology. It was a iTap, and I was tapping into a Sony iBow, and I was seeing the world through an iBow.
Just walked into walls and stuff.
Yeah, it was cute.
Fell over.
That was cute. Okay, Lady Ada, how do people get on the show and tell?
It's super easy. Go to our Plus page, Google Plus page at plus.google.com/plus_Adafruit and add yourself to the circle by saying, hey, add me to the circle. We'll add you, and then we'll invite you because we have to have you in a circle because that's the way Hangout works. And then every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on a Saturday, you will get invited to join the show and tell, and you will show up and show off your project.
That's right.
That's how it is.
And if you show your project on the show and tell, we send you a as seen on the show and tell sticker.
Just like that. That sticker right there. It's not that size because that would be huge, but it's like this big.
Yep.
But it's a beautiful vinyl sticker.
Okay, moving right along. Back to the mailbag. Every week we get letters from community folks, customer folks, fans. Here is
small talking envelopes.
This week. This is from Janet. I ordered 2 gift certificates and 2 badges. You processed gift certificate on that day and mailed the badges to me on that day too. I received badge yesterday. Thanks so much. You are so on top of it. My husband loves Adafruit and watches Ask an Engineer every Saturday night. You rock. Thanks again, Janet.
Thank you, Janet.
Yeah, we ship fast. So that's one of the things.
We do that.
And lots of people. What's interesting now is as the maker world has continued to grow and explode. Gift certificates, I was always wondering, like, well, are we going to end up selling more gift certificates or less? Are people going to get tired of gift cards and all these things? We have more gift certificates going to people than ever, and the notes that they ask us to put on these are so nice because it's always someone getting started with electronics, someone they know that they like the Adafruit shop, like this person. So it's really neat to see. It's one of the things that we track. Like, are there more gift certificates over time or less? There's more. It's kind of neat. Anyways, next up, some news in the world of open source hardware. So.
There's a summit.
Yeah, there's a summit. Open Hardware Summit is coming up.
So soon.
So soon. Adafruit is a supporter. We just got these spiffy badges we could put on our site.
They're like made out of EL wire.
Yeah. The show and tell that just happened, make sure you watch it on our YouTube channel. It's also on our Google Plus page. You'll see the e-ink badges that Justin showed off.
Yeah, so the first 500 people, and I don't know if they're all taken yet. So if you want to go, sign up soon, so you'll get one of these cool badges.
Yeah.
It's like worth more than the ticket.
Yeah.
They're cool. Custom.
Next up, in the beginning of the show, I mentioned that there was it was a happy day and a sad day this week at Adafruit.
Yes.
So we like to do things in the world of open source, and we like to reward folks who also celebrate open source and people that we know that share and have like great values and always looking to put more value in and doing all this stuff. So we actually had not a dilemma, but we weren't sure what to do, so we thought about this a lot. So we gave away our first pick and place machine, something that we worked really hard for, saved up a lot of money, to NYC Resistor.
That's right.
The Hackerspace NYC Resistor. So for people who know Ask an Engineer, you know, we've been doing Ask an Engineer for 4 years. We bought this pick and place 4 years ago.
4 years ago. It was actually one of the first things we showed.
Yeah. So
I found the letter where it was in 2009. We're like, hey, we're doing a road trip to Pennsylvania to go check out one of these machines.
Yeah. So Mark DeVank, who I hired at Make, and he still works with Make, and now he's an instructor at a school.
Really?
Awesome position.
Yeah.
And I just sent Mark a thank you note because he took us out to look at different machines.
He's got a van.
He has a minivan, yeah. And so the interesting thing I think is, we told this story over time, and the pick and place, that was the most that we've ever spent on anything, ever. And it was
a lot.
It was about $35,000.
$35,000 altogether, yeah.
Yeah, and
we bought some more feeders afterwards too.
And when people ask like what it's like to run a business, and everything, we sacrificed a lot. This was 4 years ago. Adafruit was not where it is now, and we don't have funding and we don't take loans, so we had to save up cash. We paid for it in cash.
Yeah.
Like not actual, like it was a check, but we wrote a check. And so here's when it arrived. It arrived on August 14th, I believe. Or maybe it was a little bit later, but here it is. It came in the cart.
September.
And one of the things we had to do with this pick and place machine is it had to be a good pick and place machine. We wanted vision, we wanted all these things with it, but it also had to fit through an apartment door because we used to run Adafruit basically in an apartment.
Yeah.
It was a live workspace, but it was an apartment. Yeah, it had to run on 110 volts. It had to be a machine that had high mix, and this is a very cool
Our current pick and place is requires 208 3-phase.
Yeah. And so here you are, the first day getting it. You actually crawled inside of it.
Well, I had to make sure it was.
Yeah. We had to learn how to use it. That was really hard.
Yeah.
It was difficult. These machines are not easy to use.
It's a good machine, but it is not easy to use.
Yeah. Here it is when we just got it. We just wanted to make sure like everything would fit on the table. We got a little table for it. And then it had software that it came with. It was written by the person who made it, a Sono.
Yeah.
And we actually went to Japan and met this person, Sono. He's in his 80s. He's one of the greatest makers ever.
Yeah, he's hardcore.
And
he designed all these pick and places just like by himself.
Yeah, he designed them by himself with the software by himself. Really great. And here's another, this is what it looks like when it homes on the pieces. These are screenshots that we took the day we got it. We were really excited. And then here's a couple that it has dual vision system, which is pretty rare for a small pick and place.
Yeah, it had top vision and bottom vision. So you could do big parts and also fiducials and training and stuff.
And when we ran Adafruit from our apartment, the pick and place machine was basically in the kitchen. This is right opposite of this is the stove.
Yeah, this was right next to the. Yeah, this was.
And MOSFET used to jump on top of it.
This is the dining room, basically.
Yeah, and we had some previous Ask an Engineers where we did this old pick and place, and you made your own trays for it.
Yeah.
Because
tray holder.
The tray holder.
We actually made our own tray holder for this pick and place too.
Yeah.
Because tray holders are really expensive. They're like thousands of dollars, but they're like, it's like 2 or 3 hours and like a little bit of 80-20 and you can make your own. And
we took some cool photos of it. John Jr. took some cool photos.
Friends don't let friends buy tray holders.
When super awesome Sylvia came by our old place, the Adafruit out of, like I said, our apartment, she was there. And then here we are. The folks from NYC Resistor came out and they have it now.
I still have pink hair.
Yeah, you still have pink hair.
And we gave it away.
So we gave it away.
A box of feeders, pick and play.
And
it still works.
It's not it ran all of Adafruit.
It ran till the very end. We just don't use it anymore.
And we did all of our reflow through a toaster oven
that we threw away.
That we modified.
Yeah, we threw that away.
And NYC Resistor is it's not a nonprofit. This is a straight up. Here you guys go. It's a gift. Enjoy it. And they're going to try to do workshops, teach people how to do manufacturing. The laser cutter that we have. We had also in our apartment a long time ago. We still have it here at Adafruit. That was something we thought that hacker spaces would have, and now they all have it. And we actually think pick and place is going to be the next thing.
Yeah, these kind of pick and places are smaller ones.
Yeah.
It's tough because it's like all pick and places are expensive, and you can get a really cheap one for $3,000. And this one was like, again, it was like $30,000. Although they have a model now that I think is a little bit less.
Yeah.
But it's tough because unless you have vision, it's just really difficult to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like lacking the vision system. Like the pick and place could actually do 0.5 millimeter spacing, which is pretty good for.
And so
most parts are like 0.5 or
Yeah.
0.65, and it could do them pretty much no problem.
Yeah, and this is the time of the night where, so I don't have time to write the maker business articles I used to like to write on Make. I just don't have time now. But if you ever thought about being a maker company, don't let anyone tell you that it's not possible, because we saved up money, we didn't take loans, we didn't get any funding, we made a lot of sacrifices in, like, you know, eating ramen and keeping our expenses low. All of our personal money we invested back in the company. We found a pick and place that could fit an apartment.
I did a lot of research on pick and place. Remember that like month that I was just like, I don't know everything about pick and places.
And,
this is the one I picked.
We modified a toaster oven to be reflow, and just as far as like sheer numbers go, we got Adafruit to an $8 million company on a pick and place that I think, you know, there's folks who do this for a living. They kind of made fun of us. They're like, oh, really? Like you could do all that with this? Like, we weren't a big company yet. We're not even a giant company now.
Yeah.
But there's no excuse. You can always, if you're really motivated, you can always make it work.
You gotta go slow and steady.
Yeah.
But you can do it.
Yeah, and now this is our pick and place here. And the pick and place we have, the Samsung class machine, it does 28,000 components per hour. Our previous one did about 1,000 components per hour.
It said, the advertisement was like 5, but it really is like a 1,000.
Yeah. So, that machine, again, we paid for that one in cash, and those machines, 200,000 and up. Like that's just to get started.
Yeah.
And there's My Data, there's Juki, there's Samsung, there's Euro Placer. There's a lot of choices, and it's really complicated. In our new space,
I know a lot about pick and places.
Yeah, in our new space here, we're a zone for manufacturing. We're a factory. We had to get special power, special everything. But what got us here was the willpower to just use a tool. It wasn't the best pick and place machine, but it was our pick and place machine, and it did a fantastic job. And all the designs you see at Adafruit up until recently ran on that machine. So that's why we think
we've only had the new pick and place for 4 months.
Yeah.
Because we got it in March, right?
Yeah.
Mid-March.
Yeah.
So it's only been like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. So again, if you're thinking about like your maker company and you're like, the only option is to outsource, the only option is to wait 6 to 8 months, it's not necessarily true. You can do it. You just have to figure out what you're willing to do. Are you willing to you worked basically 2 jobs to get Adafruit going. I had 2 jobs to get.
Well, the other job was an artist fellowship, so it wasn't too restrictive.
Yeah, but you can do it. You can. So that's what.
But it paid the same amount as most artist fellowships do.
And so what we want to do is give this pick and place to NYC Resistor, and maybe there'll be a new group of people that say, well, I can get my manufacturing done because there's a local space, and I can start a business. I can put out cool designs, and because we're an open source hardware company, and we're doing this gift because NYC Resistor is the birth of a lot of great open source hardware, and certainly the philosophy of it, and celebrating it. I hope people have that as part of their values when they make stuff too. So, goodbye, little pick and place machine.
Bye.
Yeah. I miss that. I miss it.
You miss it?
I'm going to ask to go visit one, maybe on weekends.
We'll see. Right. We'll see when we visit for parties.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope we get free admission to parties from now on.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, John Janier took an awesome set of photos. These are Pogo pins. If you ever want to know how a Pogo pin worked, John also sawed or filed how these work. You could see the little pin in there.
Yeah. If you scrape away, you can see the pin, the spring, and then the little blob that keeps it captured inside.
Yeah. And then here's another beautiful photo. Look at that.
That's a tester.
And then here's a quick video.
want to know about Pogo pins.
Next up, Ask an Educator is back. Maybe someone can link it up. Adam Kemp, he wrote this series on the Adafruit site this week. How about doing a tutorial on
Solder.
the different types of solder?
Yeah.
So Ask an Educator is his series. He's back. Funny thing, he started doing these on Adafruit. He did a bunch of cool guides and requirements docs to get badges. And then I introduced him to Maker Media, at the time it was O'Reilly, and he did a book with them.
That's right.
Maker Workshop book, which we're going to carry in our store.
Yes.
So
yeah, of course.
Yeah, this was really neat. He did a really good job on it. So check that out. Next up, on the Adafruit Learning System, we have a very special tutorial. Just went live.
Just only like a minute ago.
Just went live a minute ago. If you ever wanted to make your own on-air sign, this is another example of internet connected of things.
Yeah, this is a very special thing, but it does show you how to deal with APIs, how to control a power switch tail on a Raspberry Pi, how to do Internet of Things type stuff. It's a good example, even though it's kind of specialized. It's only for people who have or want to track online streaming web shows.
Yeah, so if you do a show on Ustream or Google Hangouts or YouTube Live, you can do this. But it's also just a great example of reaching out on the web, turning something on or off with a relay.
Which is like 90% of Internet of Things projects.
Yeah, it can go the other way too. You can go perhaps and look at the city's power that you have, and maybe you'll have something turn off in your home if the power spikes in the city. Maybe everyone has air conditioner on. Maybe you'll go the reverse.
Yeah.
It'll turn things off.
Ooh.
Anyways.
Does it not turn things on?
Yeah. Okay. We're going to
check it out, Phil B.
Yep. Okay. Next up, Wearable Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we have the best things in the world of wearable electronics. This week, we
You guys have been working on this show for a while, so
we've been talking about it. Yeah. So here's the deal. There's so much stuff going on in wearable electronics. We decided to start a new show. So this is every Wednesday at 2
p.m.
Yeah. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, everything's recorded, so if you can't watch it live, that's fine. And this is Becky.
Recorded.
I'm on camera control of the side. I'm going to continue to get off to the side. She'll have other guests, other people. And we're just getting spun up with this thing. The show worked out great. We've been doing Ask an Engineer for 4 years. We're good at this. It's now time to add another show that's exclusively wearable electronics. So, fantastic show. Do check it out. And little heads up, we're probably going to move Ask an Engineer to Wednesday nights starting in October.
Okay.
That is something that where everything gets recorded and it's taken care of. We think that's a good time. I have to talk to everybody, make sure it's going to work out, but that's what we're thinking about.
Okay.
So there'll be the Wednesday night lineup, like a TV network, one could say. Next up, we have a teardown this week of a very cool product, which is a bone conductive hat. So you can check out the tutorial and you can check out the video.
Today we're tearing down the Cynaps bone conduction hat. It's like a Bluetooth headset, but it uses bone conduction speakers to vibrate your skull instead of putting earphones in your ears. It's great for riding your bike because it doesn't block your regular hearing, and we couldn't wait to check out the inside to see how it works. The two bone conduction coils sit inside the band of the hat, and the controls, microphone, and battery are in the brim. Here's Lady Ada to walk us through the electronics on the board.
There's the main PCB, and there's this really big battery. You need a lot of battery because these transducers are like little motors. They take a lot of current, more so than actual normal speakers. On the back, you've got some buttons for, volume up, volume down, power. There's a micro USB connector that's used to charge up this battery over here. And then you've got these little wires, and that's how you can modularize and connect these bone conduction and microphone modules to it. On this side, that's where we get most of the electronics. Actually, it's pretty straightforward. There's an all-in-one Bluetooth audio module. It usually has FCC certification, C certification ready to go. It shows up just as a Bluetooth audio device using the HEDP profile, and it just spits audio out. So that's it. You don't need a microcontroller. You don't need any processing power. The audio goes out, and then there's a little amplifier board here that actually drives the transducers. So let's look at this in detail under the microscope. So starting from over here to the right, this is the battery connector, and these are the little solder tabs, and hopefully there's a plus sign. This is that audio module, so it uses an ISSC. There's probably some basic low-cost audio module. There's a little bit of flash chip, a crystal. You can see this is just placed on and soldered in place. There's a little antenna over here that does the Bluetooth stuff, and you can look up this parts, probably under NDA, but these tend to be an all-in-one, ready to go. Line audio out, microphone in. This is probably protection circuitry and regulator from the LiPo battery over here. So usually this side would be pick and placed, and maybe this side is hand soldered. Just how it goes sometimes with manufacturing when you're using double-sided designs. This is an LM4863. Look that up. It's probably an audio amplifier board or a motor driver board from National. They make good linear stuff. A dual color LED. You can see there's 4 pins. That's how you know it's dual color. And then hot glue to protect the connections to these little mini wire connectors that go to the conduction modules. You can see the coiled magnetics, and it just vibrates just like a speaker coil would vibrate, but in this case you can press it up against something, and this is actually magnetic, so you can press it up against something and it will vibrate the bass to create an effective audio. So these use a little bit more power than a speaker, and when you touch them, especially to your ear bones or your skull, it'll turn your skull into the cavity of a speaker, so you can sort of hear from inside of your head. Here's the little microphone. Oh, mitty microphone. Little teeny guy. Kind of a standard electric mic. Small, but for basic audio, just voice range, probably works fine.
For this and many other teardowns, we're using the Adafruit USB microscope with its articulated stand, the official vision system of wearables teardowns here at Adafruit. And if you've got a device you'd like to see us tear down, post it up in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more Wearable Wednesdays.
Okay, we're going to zip right into 3D Thursday. Every week on the Adafruit blog we have, which is now the best source of 3D news.
It's all the news that's fit to print. 3D print.
Yeah, fit to extrude.
Yes.
Yeah. Or I guess you could. What's the the process with the all the news that's fit to
laser
DPL.
Yeah.
DLP.
No, the DLP. It's a DLP
Yeah.
printer. It's laser sintering.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
So, anyways, it's just go look at the
coagulating
3D section. So, a couple quick things. First up, this was fun. This was at DEF CON. So, a couple MIT kids said they figured out how to make all those keys that you're not supposed to be able to make. This was a piece of code that will allow anyone to create a 3D printable software model of any Primus key, despite the company's attempts to prevent the duplication of those carefully controlled shapes.
Yeah, and you can get them printed in like metal too, so it's not like
you send it off to Shapeways and you got yourself a key. I thought that was neat because there's always this big tension about what 3D printers are going to be used for, just like any other technology. And so we're starting to see the full spectrum of these things. Oh, little figurines. Oh, house keys that maybe you're not supposed to have. We also saw in New York City there's these kiosks that you use your fingerprint and you can potentially store your own key and makes a copy of it, and then it can make a new one on the fly if you ever get locked out of your place. They're putting that into
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Next up, as I said before, Adam Kemp is back, and he has a skill badge guide to 3D printing. So he is a real-life school teacher, and this is his guide that he made for his students. And once they do all the things in this guide, you can award a kid a 3D printing badge.
Yep.
So all good stuff. Next up, Pi Day. Once again, the Adafruit blog has become the source for Pi news. Friday's Pi Day. Just you will not scroll enough. You'll get tired of scrolling. There's so much news that's happening on Pi Day. I tried to. There's so much stuff, but I wanted to pick one project in particular. This is a Google Glass steampunk-like thing, all using a Raspberry Pi. So that goes on your arm, and that goes on your head, and it's a 3D printed Pi
AR
glass
thing, yeah.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
It's cool.
So before we get off to new products, once again, the code is CC3000. Everything in stock in the Adafruit store. Sorry that we just ran out of the CC3000s. We'll have them back in the store soon, but anything else right now, 10% off.
They'll be at 10% off next week too. So if you really need that 10% off, next week hopefully we'll have them in stock.
Okay. New products.
It's mega new.
New products.
There's a lot of new.
Okay.
Are we ready for all this new?
Yeah, we're gonna zoom through these.
There's a lot of new.
We have like 10 new products. This is gonna buckle up.
Kids.
Here we go. Okay. First up, it is the CC3000.
Said 33 C 33,000 C blah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we normally come up with names like Flora, Gemma, Trinket. We have really, NeoPixels, but we wanted just to make this one. It is what its name is. It's the C3, the C shells by the C store, the CC3000 breakout board, and look at this great photo that John took. This is nice.
Yeah.
Photo. Okay, so you want to go to the overhead?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the light, see the lights a little better now.
Okay, great.
I'm trying to avoid having it be too glossy.
What is this thing and why?
So this is a breakout for the CC3000 mod. It actually, I decapped one a while ago because I was trying to figure out like what the heck is in these things. This is actually what's in the module itself. So if you take that metal cap off, this is what's in there. And this is actually the CC3000 chip, the sort of large shiny thing. And there's also like a level shifter because it runs on 1.8, a voltage regulator, some parts that I can't identify, a couple passives, analog output for the antenna over here. So it's actually the chip itself that's called the CC3000. The chip itself is this guy, but the firmware has to be stored on EEPROM, and then you also need some voltage regulation and some analog output stuff. So it's actually kind of combined all in one, and they sell it on a module, which has these pads on the back, and it comes in a tin, and so the tin is what we solder onto this board. And to make it a little friendlier for people, we added a 3.3 volt regulator. It uses up to like 300 milliamps peak. That's only when it's in the actual process of transmitting or receiving. So that's only like a couple milliseconds, but you still need to be able to supply that current. So even though you can put it in sleep mode and it uses only like a milliamp or two, you'll want to have a good regulator. Also has a level shifter over here, so you can run it off of 3 volt or 5 volt logic. There's a little power LED which lights up, and then over here we have mounting holes to either side so you can attach it. There's a debug port, which is kind of not for anybody's use, but if you ever feel like trying to debug it, it's like 3 megabit per second speed serial. Like most serial converters can't read it, but if you get a special one, I guess you can see debug output. And then this little thing here is the antenna. We're using the same antenna and layout as the eval board, which is what TI puts in their app note. So this is FCC emitter certified. And so because we're using the same module, the same power, the same output system, and the same antenna, it doesn't invalidate the FCC certification for emitter. You still need to get your final product FCC certified, but the emitter part about this is taken care of. Sort of like if you're using a pre-certified module, it allows it to be pre-certified. And then if you're feeling lucky and you want to get a little bit more range out of this, it has extremely good range, by the way. But if you want more, you can move the little capacitor over and use the optional UFL connector, solder that on. And then you can use a large 2.4 gigahertz antenna. Or if you're feeling, like you want to really annoy some ham radio or FCC people, get a powered antenna, which you're not supposed to do, but you can anyways. Or you can just like make something with a Pringles can. Either way, I didn't tell you to do that, but people do it anyways. So that's the module. It's basically breadboarded and really easy to use. It's kind of the basics. It's the breakout itself is not hard. This is actually really easy. This only took us one revision to do. It's the software that's actually really challenging, because even though TI released host code, it's a challenge to port it. In fact, as far as I know, this is one of the only fully ported versions of the library. I've seen other people do a kind of a beginning of a port to the Parallax propeller and to the PIC. Yeah. And I've seen other AVR/Arduino efforts, but none of them were complete. This one's complete, and actually even fixed some bugs in the TI library, which...
Yeah, this was intense.
Which was really intense.
Someone in the chat came up with a funny name, Adafruit.11.
The Adafruit.11. Oh yeah, so it supports Adafruit.11 BG, so that works with pretty much any router. It worked with all routers we tried except the Airport Extreme huge one. And we're not sure why exactly that wasn't being friendly. Maybe we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
But it worked with every other router we tried. It supports WEP, WPA, WPA2, and we do have working code, although it's not super crazy tested, for the Smart Config, which is a system that allows you to use a laptop or a cell phone like Apple, iPod and or Android device to set the SSID and password remotely. So it finds it using MDNS and sets that information in. So you don't have to worry about, like, if you're moving, you don't have to reprogram it for the new SSID.
Yeah.
You can set the SSID over a phone using like a secure, like it knows the name, and you have to be really close to it, and it can detect it, and that's another way of doing it. So it's kind of fun. Again, we have a working code. It can grab a web page. The only thing I don't have working is TCP server, and UDP client works, but I don't have an example for it.
No. All right. This will usher in this family of this chip for us and for all the other people and companies working with the chip. The Internet of Things stuff is actually here. This is the thing that everyone's been kind of waiting for.
It's cool because if you can actually do like SPI interfaced Wi-Fi, like we've been wanting to do a Wi-Fi thing for a really long time. People always ask, like, why don't you have a Wi-Fi product? And it's like, none of them were really good. Either you needed an NDA, or they didn't have a TCP/IP stack built in, so it's like you couldn't run it on an Uno, or it was UART, and so like the timing was really difficult. This one is SPI, so it has internal buffer, so you don't have to have a super fast processor. Like, you can run on Uno and you don't drop a byte.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about like special timing.
We had a lot of customers over the years say, hey, Adafruit, when are you going to come out with a Wi-Fi thing? Because I bought this, that, and the other thing, and it just doesn't work. I just couldn't get it working. Like, I don't, there's no code, or like there's no support, or like whatever. And we're just like, we know. We're getting there. So the Shield version and the like Wi-Fi Arduino version is also coming out soon. We're working on that. Almost done. Okay, next up. This one is, I was supposed to get it in it last week, but I just didn't. This is the new Flora sensor pack.
Yeah, so this is a pack that's specialized for people who want to start with Flora and they want to do sensor stuff. So there's a Flora right there in the middle, and below there's a roll of our really awesome stainless steel thread. To the left of that, there is the accelerometer compass sensor. Above that is the color sensor. And then above that is the light sensor. So you have like a nice range of sensors that you can use. 4 NeoPixels, battery pack, and battery pack extension. Some woven conductive fabric you can use for capacitive touch sensors. And then those nice little mini snaps that we got, which are awesome for making like switches, or if you want to disconnect and connect something from your Flora.
Do them by picture?
Yeah,
you
sure.
can say what they are.
We'll talk about all of them, and then I'll do a demo, because they're all very similar. They're all the same shape. These are really cute little push buttons, and they have an LED built into them. They're really inexpensive compared to our metal push buttons, which is why I like them. So they're like $1 each, which is a good deal. And we have them in red. We also have them in green. They're the LED inside, you can connect it. It's separate than the switch. The switch is either momentary or on-off, and I'll demo that. But basically, the momentary is just like a push button. Like, you push it, and the contacts connect, and when you release, they disconnect. So it's just momentary. We also have, in the same family, it's on-off latching.
Yeah.
So instead of...
that's why these all kind of look the same, but they're different.
They're all different. So on the overhead... Actually, I'll leave the lights off because I want to show these buttons lit up. So these are the buttons. Oh, I forgot to plug in my power supply. 1 second.
Okay.
So these are the buttons here. So so you can see how big they are, and you press them, and they don't light up yet. So just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Somehow I totally forgot to grab my power.
Yeah,
no, I did grab my power cable. I'm like, I knew I remembered it somewhere. Let's see. Okay, sorry. So, zoom out.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, so I'm just keeping the LED lit, and a lot of people ask, is the LED connected to the switch? No, the LED is separate. So you can make the LED light up when it's pressed or when it's not pressed, whatever you want to do with different logic. But I'm just keeping it on all the time now, so you can sort of also see it. So this is the latching version. So you see it's kind of like pressed in, and then it's released. Pressed in, released. So this one is sort of an on-off switch. When you press it, it turns on, and when you press it, it turns off. And then the alternate version is, hold on. This is the momentary version. So the momentary version is when you press it, it's connected, and then when you release it, springs back. So that's why there's 6 different buttons. There's this kind of yellow, which is a lovely yellow. There's also a lovely green. 1 second. Oh, got the polarity wrong. This is a lovely green button. This is the latching one. And finally, if I could not get this backwards every time. It's always backwards, even though it's a 50% chance. Okay, and then of course, red, which never shows up very good on a video camera, but you can see the red color over here. And I like these because they have this nice square skirt, which makes them easy to line up next to each other, and they're easy to press. They're kind of soft and easy to press. Drill a 16mm hole, and I can light this up so you can see that there's this ring that screws on to hold it in place. So you can put it in like a 1/2 inch thick plastic or wood or whatever.
That's handy.
And it's easy to solder to these tabs as well. And yeah, they're just kind of nice basic switches. I'm trying to get blue and white ones as well, but those are custom, so it's taking a little longer than the standard red, yellow, and green. So that's these nice LED buttons.
All right, we're just going to keep moving along here.
Yes. We also have another button.
Yeah, this is John Janier was calling this like the NASA button.
Yeah, it's like a control panel button. This one's a little bit, it's a little similar, but it's also different. This one, it doesn't have a light up, but it has a nice sort of...
Oops. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It has a... let me see if I can just... Yeah. It's a momentary button. It doesn't have an LED, but it has a really nice rounded top, and I kind of like it. And again, it's really inexpensive. It's only 50 cents. So if you don't need an LED and you just want a couple buttons, it has, again, a nice attachment screw, and it's really easy to connect to these two. And you can even use our quick disconnects if you want. So yeah, this is a pretty sweet little button.
Okay.
And if these are popular, I'll get them in more colors, because these colors they're also available in multiple colors if I order enough. So if they're popular, I'll get them in like gray and white and green and blue and black and all those.
Okay.
But red's a good start.
I'm going to just show all these photos of servos.
Is that what you're going to do?
I'm just going to do that.
That's what you're going to do.
And while you get them ready for the overhead,
Okay.
I'm going to show these beautiful photos. Look at this one. Look at this
Oh,
one.
you know, we had a metal. We had the metal one that was taken apart.
Yeah, well, it's not going to look as good as this.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the Metal Gear one, just to show the servo with the metal gears. Because like Metal Gear servos always look good, but they're both the same basic size servo. The Metal Gear one is just a lot more durable. That's a button.
Yeah.
So this is the Metal Gear servo. So it's a micro servo, and this is another custom device. This is got the same standard servo connection that everyone knows and loves: the power, ground, and signal with analog input. You just send it that pulse, but it also has an extra wire. White wire. And the white wire is the feedback wire. And this wire is soldered to the potentiometer wiper on the inside, which is how it does feedback control. And so the nice thing about it is you can read the servo position, which allows you to do things like record servo movements. Because when servos are not activated, if you're not sending in a signal, they kind of go loose, and you can move them by hand because they're not activated. So you can use we have example code. You can turn the servo the way you want and then record that motion because you're reading the feedback from the feedback pin. You can also tell if your servo's binding or something, or if it's you're trying to get to a position, it doesn't get to that position for some reason because there's something in the way. This feedback wire is also handy. So we thought that we already had the large servos, but these would be really good for small robotics projects. And the thing that I like about them is, one thing that's really difficult to do is the reverse kinematics for if you have like an arm or like a robot and you want to have it do a motion, like you want it to like, sign something, like as it's a robot arm and you want it to like draw a picture. Programming in that motion can be really, really difficult. But if you have feedback servos, you can just record that and program it in as a waveform. So that's kind of what these are for. It's very interesting. So it's a little more expensive because they have this feedback wire and they're custom. Because we have to basically go to a servo factory and they're like, look, you have to order like 500 of these because it's a weird custom thing. But we think it's worth it. So we have the metal version and the plastic version. The Metal Gear is a little more expensive, but again, a lot more durable, as most people who work with servos, they know when they need Metal Gear and when they need plastic.
Okay, next up.
Comes with horns too. All your favorite extras.
Next up, Goldilocks. We've wanted to put these in the our store for a while, and they came in. So this is, I think, one of the good things that is moving toy makers and educators for kind of solving one of the problems, which is the boy engineer thing. So there's engineer toys out there, but they're only for boys. And so this one is specifically...
And like the lead character is usually a boy.
Yeah,
or,
and so this is Goldie Blocks. And you actually spoke at the same conference, the Woman 2.0 conference, as them. And they're now in Toys R Us. They're in lots of places. And this is Goldie Blocks and the Spinning Machine.
Yeah, so this one, it's kind of a books activity. And it... this particular one teaches how to do like very, very basic robotics. It's meant for like 6-year-old plus, so it's not, it's also fairly inexpensive. So it's not like it has like motors and stuff in it, but it sort of teaches about, belt drive and how to connect multiple things to a belt drive, which also sort of teaches about gearing and how to connect multiple mechanical things together using a belt drive system. So it's interesting because it sort of presents this as it's problem solving, and it has a story that goes with it, which I think is really nice.
Yeah.
And it does teach you something, but it's not like it's a robot kit.
Yeah. So it got the Oppenheimer Toy Portfolio Best Toy Award, Parents' Choice Gold Award. The side of the box, more than just a princess. Kind of interesting. There's the girl, and she has the...
It's also, you don't have to give it just to girls. You can give it to anybody.
Girls or boys.
Just like you can give a toy with that has a boy character to a girl or boy.
Yeah.
This is fine for everybody. But I like that they were like, let's try something different.
Yeah, and so, when people ask us, like, oh, what's going on in the world of STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, to get more young girls celebrated and interested in it, these are some of the things. And this is good for boys and girls, and I like that the main character is a girl engineer.
Yeah.
Because in my worldview, I only know girl engineers. I didn't realize guys do engineering too. This is a rumor I've heard recently.
Mangineers.
Mangineers are called. Okay.
Okay.
Next up.
More products.
Yeah, this was a really cool product that you made. I like this.
Yes, I made this in a fit of frustration because I was really tired. I was like, how come I've been programming AVRs for like 10 years or more? And I still can never remember the pinout, and then I'm always like shoving wires into like my ISP headers, and I was like, this sucks. I'm going to make a little thing, and it's going to have the pinout, and it's going to be like really easy to use, and it's going to be $1, and here it is. And then it happened. So it's a little mini kit. You get a circuit board and some header, and it's really, really easy to solder. This is like, it just, for to get it assembled would have made it more than $1, and I really wanted it to be something that you could just like pick up, next time you place an order. But you basically make a little assistant where you can plug in, your USB teeny or whatever into here. And what I like is that it keeps the same pinout. So, if you do remember the pinout, unlike me. VCC mostly ground, reset S clock, MISO, and you can also follow other diagrams out there. It's just really easy to use, and it's a great. I have like 3 now plugged into every breadboard because if I'm programming like a ATtiny 85, it's just a really easy, elegant way to do it. And then I can use this for any AVR chip, any chip that uses the 6-pin ISP header.
Okay, home stretch
so
here.
handy. Works great with USB Teeny.
All right.
Bye.
Next up. I'm going to show the photos and while you set it up. This is a clear top Altoids tin.
Big tin.
Bigger than usual tin. Here's a Pi inside of it. Here's a Arduino on its side. That it's big.
These are huge.
And then you've got a Mega in there.
It fits the Mega very well.
Yeah, and here's some great photos. Customers suggested this. They're like, this is totally an Adafruit.
Yeah, and I was like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So here is this tin. I'm gonna get this. So it's got a clear top. It's basically like a one of those mint tins or candy tins where you can see the contents. So big tin, and the Arduino is just like gigantic. Even Arduino would kind of barely fit. I don't even think it fits in a normal Altoids tin. Whereas you can now fit a Raspberry Pi or something, and then you can even close it. One thing I do want to just remind people is it's made out of metal. So if you're going to put something in it, make sure to insulate it or use screws. Like there's these nice mounting holes here or mounting holes. So just use those because it's metal. It's extremely conductive. You can also put a Mega in it, and I like that you could put this on and put a TFT shield in, and then close it, and you could see what's going on in your shield. And then, I mean, I think this is a waterproof. It's mostly waterproof, but I mean, the box itself isn't, but the top would kind of handle a little bit of abuse. So you could probably, you know, spill something on it, or put it in your bag, and it would survive.
Yeah. I like that you could also put magnets on it and have it on a refrigerator. So you could do like an Internet of Things fridge device.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You could it's magnetic, so you could put it, you know, I don't have a magnet here, but yeah, you could magnetize it, glue magnets to the back. Yeah. And the back is just a solid tin. And then, you know, of course you can drill holes into it, or punch holes into it, or you can just have a display. So yeah, I think this is kind of I actually use tin snips to just cut little slots and stuff, but you can use a step drill as well. So it's a really big tin.
Okay. Next up, I'm going to show the photos of these. Here is, these are tiny cables that can fit in your wallet. This is the easiest. They're called charge cards. And we saw these.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, it was a very successful Kickstarter, and I tried them out, and I'm like, wow, these are really handy, because I always need either an iPhone cable, a USB cable, an iPod cable, and so these fit right into your wallet. And what it is just a tiny foldable cable to charge and do data syncing with your devices. So each one of them plugs into a computer, USB, and you can always keep this with you. Handy for travelers, handy for everyone, cool for makers who just need to plug in stuff all the time. And
yeah, it's cool because it's so skinny. So this is the card. It's a little tough to see because it's all black. But this little part snaps out, and you can see that there's these gold USB contacts. This is the thickness of the USB slot. So you can plug this in. And then over here, this is a 30-pin iPhone 4 connector. There's also this one, which is kind of neat. It's a micro B connector. You can kind of see this micro B connector here. Same USB, and it flexes open. And then this is an iPhone 5 connector, so you can maybe see it. It's also a fairly skinny connector. So it's micro USB, which is basically like every Android phone, iPhone 5, and also latest iPads and such. And also 30-pin for you old school Apple device owners. No FireWire one. So I don't know. You got your own your first generation iPod. You're out of luck. But
yep, a lot of focus there.
Sorry about that. Okay, there you go. So yeah, these are the cards, and they're very slim. So yeah, they're meant to fit. Yeah, they're thicker than a credit card because they have to be as thick as that USB connector. But they're still fairly thin, maybe only 2-3 millimeters.
Yeah,
definitely fits into a wallet.
If you are someone who likes electronics and engineering, there is a set of cards for you finally. These are from Arachnid Labs. We saw these. We got a sample set, and we're like, okay, finally.
These are handy.
Super handy, super cool. Let me go to the overhead.
Okay. So, yeah, let's look at some of these cards. So, hopefully in focus. So, yes, this is NPN current source. So, there's a schematic, there's the name, and then there's a little bit of text that tells you about it. Any mathematics, FET high side switch, voltage divider. This is the two of hearts. Differential amplifier, current regulator, NPN switch. So, all of these great things. SR latch. It's got some little analog, a little bit of digital. It's got the differentiator that nobody likes, or integrator that nobody likes. Whatever. They don't really work. So the differentiator, does that one work? Which one's the one that's doesn't DC bias well? I don't remember. Maybe it's the integrator. The linear regulator, basic boost regulator, and talks a little bit about the theory, memory logic, flyback diode connections, RC high pass, Schmitt trigger, shunt regulator using a zener. Everyone loves zeners. Yeah. Voltage doubler, RC low pass, etc., etc., etc. Crowbars, emitters, non-inverting, common base, common emitter, common. 32 cards in total. We thought these were cool. These are also really good if you just want to brush up on your circuit recognition skills, because it's you kind of covers. It's not like every single basic circuit element, but it has a lot of them. So I like this. I like the sound. It's like, this is cool.
Okay, and with that, Lady Ada, that was new products.
Yeah, there's a lot of new products.
That was a lot.
I know.
Okay, we're going to do a really quick, it's not out yet, don't ask. This is top secret. It's not out yet, don't ask. Here it is. It is the RGB LED Mini POV. These are the new photos that we just took.
Phil B totally did like the most amazing job with these. This is actually hardware designed by Frank Zhao, our new incredible engineer on staff, and collaboration with Phil B, who just like somehow totally rocked out the dithering, like the color management.
Paint Your Dragon, Phil B in the chat tonight.
Yeah, we need a gang sign for him. I guess it's just this.
Yeah, no,
right.
It's Dragon Claws.
Dragon Claws.
Yeah.
He clawed it.
Yeah.
And
his code was all over the projects tonight in the show and tell too.
Yeah, he wrote all the code.
This is I think the year of the NeoPixel.
The year of the NeoPixel?
Yeah. Because there's every year Chinese New Year you have year of, this is year of the black snake.
Black snake.
For instance, like it's a very
silver snake.
Yeah, I think this year is the year of the NeoPixel. There should be.
We are NeoPixeling it out.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have that 8x8 NeoPixel square in the store real soon. I think they were supposed to ship. I don't know if they did, but when we get them. That's a lot of NeoPixel, like these chainable 8x8 squares. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So anyways,
crazy. That's coming out soon. That's not going to ask. Okay. All right. We're going to do a little bit of a speed round for questions, and then we're going to do a trivia question, and then we're going to
like 2 minutes.
In the show, yeah.
Because we gotta go to sleep too.
Yeah, I know. Can you tell that we need some sleep? Go ahead and ask your questions, folks. We'll do a trivia question in just a little bit. We're going to give away a CC 3000, but we're going to do a couple minutes. I think I asked George. I think he said okay.
I know we have all these new products.
That we might go a couple minutes over.
We got all these new products. What are we going to do?
Let's see if there's any questions. Question is, C is for capacitor. We're working on it right now.
It's working on it right now.
Would you recommend the BeagleBone Black or the Raspberry Pi for beginner programmer?
I would not recommend either of them for beginner programmer, and Arduino is a better choice for beginning programming with microcontrollers especially.
We think so too. Is there an NYC area store for electronic components like Skycraft Surplus in Orlando, Metro Electronics Sacramento, or Fry's in California? Good place to buy transistors, not Canal Street. NYU Bookstore has... But
they don't have transistors.
They have some components. Yeah. There isn't a place that has that.
Other than a few Canal Street places, there's not really anything. There's like some radio shop in Brooklyn, but I don't think it's. Yeah. I think it's overpriced apparently.
How many bends are those charge cards good for? Well, so far we haven't heard of any problems.
I'd say to me, in my opinion, they look like they can handle 500 easy.
Yeah.
Because they're reinforced. It's not just a flex. It's a flex circuit inside of like a silicone rubber. Yeah, the Kickstarter's been out for a while, and we looked at all the feedback from everything, and we didn't see anything about the cards not doing well with heavy use, too. Next up, are the red LEDs darkroom safe? Are red LEDs darkroom safe? That's a good question. You should look at the film and then see what nanometer light or lower it doesn't react to, and then look at the LEDs and see what nanometer they emit, and then just match that up to make sure that the number's lower. Okay. No. Higher? I can never remember. But make sure it's on the right side of whatever side. Okay. Next up, this is the fellow with the watches. He wants to know how to ship the OLED watch with his LiPo battery. Make sure you look on in your local country. They just really strickened the laws. The laws are very strict now about shipping LiPo. Yeah, you can go to your local postal place and they'll have a guideline for that. Yeah. Next up, what's the difference between a crystal and resonator, and how can I replace a resonator with a crystal? Ceramic resonators are just less precise than crystals. You can pretty much replace a 2-pin resonator with a crystal as long as the load capacitance is pretty close, which it probably is. But it kind of depends. I mean, if you can replace something with the exact same part, that's your best bet. I've rarely seen it when you couldn't just swap the components around, but it depends on the circuit and how sensitive it is to the load capacitance. Have we seen the Blink 1? And if we have, what do we think of it? I don't have one, but I've seen stuff similar to it. Okay, it's all good stuff. Next up, how does the Arduino 32-bit compare in terms of ease of use compared to the 8-bit one? Is it harder to use? At this time, the Due is harder to use because the IDE is still different core, right? It's a different core and not everything works with it. So for the most example code compatibility, go with Nuno.
Yeah. Next up, does our CC3000 code support AES keys yet?
It basically ported the host thing. I think it supports AES, but I mean I don't know in detail. It supports whatever the TI. We basically took the host code that TI put out, and we just fixed it.
Yeah.
So if it's in there, whenever TI released, we released, but we didn't write any custom firmware for the module.
Yeah. So I guess the answer would be whatever the firmware supports.
Yeah, and also you can always look through the library and check it out.
Yeah.
I don't remember
and it's open source. So
there's like 3 things that the AES is used for. There's like this secure connect, and then there's like key exchange. I don't know which one you're talking about.
Next up, although it's not out yet, do we have any idea of how much the Wi-Fi Arduino will be? Do we know what we're going to do?
I don't, because I'm still thinking about what I would do with it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what chip I'm going to use yet.
Yeah,
So
we have some prototypes and we're playing around with things, but this is when it gets tough because we have to make some big decisions. Next up, will there be a Flora Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I think so. I don't see why not.
Okay.
But I want to wait till it's a little bit more. There's a little bit more. The code's a little more try and tested, because I don't want to release something that isn't really easy to use.
Okay, and last question of the night: is there a microcontroller that outputs greater than 10-bit PWM?
I don't know. I don't know one offhand. I know that like the X Megas have a DAC, but I don't know that it's not. I think it's 10-bit. It might be 12-bit, but I don't think so.
That's it.
Sorry.
We're going to do trivia question.
Well, I know.
Trivia question time. Lady Ada, what are the rules?
The rules are: if you've entered this contest and won something, you cannot win again. Only one prize per lifetime. If you type in the correct answer into the chat, if we see it first, you win this CC3000 breakout. This is the only one in existence right now.
Yeah.
In the store.
Okay. Yeah, and the question is going to be involving Wi-Fi. First person to type in the chat that I see will get it. Who is best known as the father of Wi-Fi?
The father of Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So let's see who gets it first. The father of Wi-Fi.
Father of Wi-Fi.
Who is going to win this last one? Fight Cube. Vic Hayes is correct. Vic Hayes is known as the father of Wi-Fi because... Do you know why, Lady Ada?
No.
Okay. Because of the heavy involvement negotiating the international standards within the IEEE while chartering the group. Here's one other interesting thing. So in 1991, NCR Corporation with AT&T invented the precursor to 802.11 that was supposed to be used for cashier systems.
Yeah,
and the
National Cash Register.
Yeah, and the first wireless product that was used under the name was Wavelan.
Wavelan.
Yeah, so FightCube email support@adafruit.com. You get this exact thing, a CC3000.
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
FightCube never won before?
What?
Never won before?
Well, if FightCube won before, I'll ask, to be honest. And
Okay.
if you won...
I have difficulty remembering who. All these names sound familiar, but I don't know.
I think everyone's honest. I trust you.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, trust but verify. So...
We have so many new people. I want them all to win.
Yeah. Here's a picture of a cat. MOSFET's doing good.
He's doing great.
Yeah.
He has this new thing where he sits on our shoulders.
Yeah.
It's super
I'll
cute.
try to get another photo of him on the shoulders.
Like that.
Yeah.
Hello! I'm a cat.
And
Meow, meow.
we'll see everybody next week.
Yes.
Fantastic show and tell.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It was huge.
Show tonight. A lot of new products.
I know.
Good work this week, Lady Ada.
I know. Well, it was like new product light for a few weeks, and I don't know if next week we're going to have that many new items either. But everything came in this week. I mean,
some
that's
weeks
how it
have,
is.
have more time for other things. So.
Yeah. Sometimes we have like 10, 15 minutes for questions.
Yeah. Yeah, it all depends.
But I had all these buttons.
Yeah, one of the weeks we did a huge, it's not out yet because we had so much stuff that we wanted to share with people.
Yeah.
So it's fun. We have a
Change it up.
We have a good, we change it up. Okay, the show is recorded. It'll be live or transcoded to YouTube shortly.
Oh yeah, because we're broadcasting YouTube and
and we also put it up on the site on Tuesdays. The code is active until midnight, so you have just a little bit more time. Don't forget, code is CC3000. We will see everybody next week. Here is your moment of Zener.